Over the past few months, I've been collecting and researching various MP3 players from China, very cheap MP3 players, and my intention was to figure out how video works on them. Each one has a different video codec that it supports and other parameters, and I wanted to document them, and I think I've finished, so it's time to actually start explaining what I learned so that other people can learn from it. So I'm just going to go through all of the information I learned. This is a no-name generic Chinese MP3 player. There's no name associated with it, but it is a 240 by 296 pixel display. It's got an IPS screen. It has a chipset called SL6801. This one can decode H.264 video codec. However, it needs to be heavily constrained, and it requires a few patches to the X.264 source code tree. I'll be including links to all of that information so that you can get a version of FFmpeg that is statically compiled with this special X.264 encoder, and that encoder just has some limitations on it. So all the P frames are disposable, meaning that they can't be used as references. So when those prediction frames are predicting, they're actually just predicting against the most recent iframe or full image frame. So that means that some encoding parameters need to be set to make the video look pretty clean, because typically the GOP length, or the group of pictures length, is basically how many P frames there are before another iframe shows up. It's like the interval. And in video compression benefits from having a very large GOP, but for these kind of players, since they only can do disposable P frames, the longer the GOP gets, the worse the prediction accuracy is from the iframe. So you can end up going like several seconds predicting off of the same iframe, and that's going to create something called a large residual, which just means like everything that the prediction missed that needs to be encoded as information, that gets larger and larger because the prediction error is so large, and so you end up losing compression efficiency. So you need a GOP length of this device of about 6. That's a pretty clean cut one. Yeah, you can kind of go up and down from like 4 to 12 maybe, but on average 6 seems to be the most stable, produces the least artifacts. This player specifically requires transposing the video. So the video is usually, typically it's a landscape video. For these players, they actually expect the video to be fed in at the native resolution of this screen. So it's actually going to be 240 by 288. So the video size that it takes is actually a little bit different than the actual display size, but when it's on there, it kind of looks like it fills the whole screen anyway. And so it needs to be a portrait video sent to this player. And then you would just rotate this player like this, and it would be a landscape again. So just remember that whatever video you're encoding for this, it needs to be a portrait video at the end of the encoding, just rotated essentially. This player has a battery capacity of, I think, 210 milliamp hours. The video format is AVI, and the audio codec is just uncompressed PCM signed 16 little endian, so PCM _ S16LE. It can do mono or stereo, but stereo is a little unstable. You need to have a low audio rate, and so the typical audio rate that this device prefers is actually 2205, or 22.05 kilohertz, or 22050 hertz. But it can do all the way up to 48 kilohertz and all the way down to 8 kilohertz. But the video can kind of get the speed of the video might be incorrect if the audio rate is too low. So 16 kilohertz seems to be the lowest you can go safely. And when you play video on this, it lasts about 4 hours before it dies. I'll show you the player's firmware in case you want to see. The SL6806 chips tend to have Let's see if I can focus that. They tend to have a similar interface, so this can always be a little different, but once you get into the settings and you see like these bubbles with the blue, that's a good sign that you've either got an SL6806 or a 6106. Or sorry, no, it's either a 6806 or a 6801. So we'll get to the 6801 later. But yeah, so this is this device. You've got you have the usual features. It does have Bluetooth. However, on this specific player, the Bluetooth does not work over video, so it's only for audio. It can do text files. It's not very good, though. It's acceptable if you just need to write a note down, maybe. It can do pictures. The pictures can be in JPEG or BMP format, so bitmap. JPEGs are going to be more compressed, so smaller size on the disc, so I would recommend that. No special encodings needed. The image size is going to actually take up the whole screen of 240 by 320. So different video size or resolution compared to the picture resolution, just the display itself. I think it's just because the firmware is reused for various displays. That's why. So this is another generic unnamed MP3 player. It's also got an SL6801 chipset, which means it's going to have the same video codec and audio codec for the videos. It's got USB-C. It's also got Bluetooth again, but no audio over Bluetooth. Just power it up really quick. Show you how it looks. This one's a touchscreen, and it does have camera support, although the pictures are not excellent, but they do the job. Actually, they're not horrible. I'd expect them to be worse, actually, so I was impressed. It's got Bluetooth again, and just like the old one, it's got a very similar looking menu. When you go in here, it's a little bit different themed, but it's got the same firmware under the hood, or similar firmware. So I guess this is considered the D3 model, but there's not, or D30, but there's not really any like standards here. There's no company names, anything like that. So yes, and this one has a battery capacity of about 500 milliamp hours. Sorry. The display size is unknown, but the video size is the same as the previous one, 240 by 288. Once again, a portrait video that's get rotated, physically. The image size is 240 by 240, so it's actually a square. Once again, AVI format with H.264 constrained, needing a patched X.264 video. You need to transpose it to rotate it. And something I forgot to mention with this player and the previous one and any SL6806 or even 6801s, these take YUV-J 420p, which is a pixel format. The typical pixel format is called a limited range pixel format. It's YUV 420p. However, these players actually expect YUV-J 420p, which means full range video, and if you accidentally don't encode it with the correct pixel format, the blacks will be very gray and the whites will not be as bright. So you should definitely encode it as YUV-J 420p. So it's an 8-hour video playback. Here is another generic unnamed MP3 player, but a very popular one that shows up online all the time. This one has a SL6801, so it's a little bit different. It's got a 250 milliamp hour battery, a display size of 128 by 160, so lower resolution. Video size is also 128 by 160, and image size is also 128 by 160. This also plays AVI formatted videos, but instead of H.264, these can do MJPEG, so motion JPEG. The compression is significantly worse, and that means the file size is a lot bigger. But if you don't mind that, then there's no significant issue with this, especially because of the small resolution. This one, you still need to rotate it, rotate the video to be portrait, and then you rotate it physically to be landscape when you're actually watching it. This one does not do mono audio, it only does stereo, and it can go from 16 kilohertz up to 48 kilohertz. It also supports JPEG and bitmap images, and the battery life playing video is about 4 hours. So we'll power it on. It might be dead. So while that one is charging, this is actually a clone of the exact same player. Hardware-wise, it's nearly identical. It's got a USB-C right there with the headphone jack, and it's got a micro SD card slot right there. I should mention that these players can support SD cards greater than 128 gigabytes in my testing. I haven't tested all of them with that, just one of them. But yeah, so this one is the same player. If you go into the settings, you'll notice there's a very familiar interface here. This is just like the SL6806, and this one's the 6801, so very similar. This one's generic model name is called MP230. So in case you're looking, that's how you would know how to identify it. This one does not have Bluetooth. Oh, it does have Bluetooth. Yeah, you got the usual features, nothing really special about this player. Short battery life. This is a clone, essentially, of the same thing with just a slightly different interface, so it's no big deal there. This is the first branded MP3 player. This one is from a company called AGP Tech. You can see on the back, AGP Tech. This is the M6U, or also known as the M6. They're kind of confusing because there's another M6 and they list this as the M6, but on the actual thing it says M6U, and there's another M6U that's not this, so this one's actually pretty new. You're not going to find this in many of the user manuals. This is kind of from recent years, I think like late 2025. It's got an SL6806, so again, this is one of the better ones. It could do H.264 video, a 500 milliamp hour battery. The display is large, 240 by 320, with a video size of 240 by 320 and an image size of 240 by 320. Once again, AVI formatted videos with H.264 constrained. You need to transpose the video to rotate it ahead of time. You have J420p for the full range color or pixel format. Uncompressed PCM S16LE can do mono and stereo from 8 kilohertz up to 48 kilohertz. Once again, I would not go below 16 kilohertz just because it might slow down the video. Probably in the video playback loop, it uses the audio rate to determine the video speed, so you don't want to go too low because it'll break it. It can do, once again, JPEGs and bitmap images, and the battery life is 7 hours. I think I can get it up to 8 if you reduce the brightness. So I'll show you this player. It's my favorite one for sure. It's got a very nice metal side with a glass front. So the issue with this player is it's a TN panel. If it was just an IPS panel, it would be so nice. So in the settings, once again, you've probably seen this 100 times already, or maybe 3 times. The SL6806 like interface here, and yeah, you can see it's pretty new. Late 2025 is the last firmware update. That's pretty good, and I can actually show you some videos on this one. Let's see here. I can show you, hopefully without getting in trouble, a movie. Whoops. I'll forward it here by, or is it this button to forward it? Yeah. Let's forward the movie a bit. Let's see. Yeah, so this is a Project Hail Mary. Now, the video quality is actually good. Like, it's not bad. The reason it's good is because of the small screen size. So when you're actually watching it, like it looks really good, especially from a distance. So if you don't mind the screen size, you could actually watch YouTube videos on this. You could watch other things. I've got a massive archive of YouTube videos here, and each one of these has a few, videos in there. Character that we've made up. Yeah, so I do actually watch YouTube on these. It's not terrible to do that. I just wanted a way to, watch offline. So that's an interesting way. All right, let's do the next one. This is another branded MP3 player from Ruizu this time, which is, I think, a sister company or kind of the same company as AGP Tech. They've kind of got clones of each other's products. This is the first chipset that is not from Shenzhou or SmartLink. SmartLink is why it's called an SL. This one is a Actions semiconductors chip. So the prefix is ATJ. This is an ATJ 2127. There's also a 2157 and a few other ones that can actually be much more powerful than these typical MP3 players. We'll get to one of those. This one is a 240 milliamp hour battery with a 128 by 128 display size, video size, and image size. And this one, instead of doing AVI format, this can only do, well, that's not true, but it can pretty much only do AMV videos. So these like don't require any configuration at all to get them to encode properly. They're designed to be played on this exact type of chip. Like this company, Action Semiconductors, they made that format. So it's very easy to put those videos on here. Those ones are very similar to MJPEG, actually. The only difference is that the quantizer tables are fixed and a few other differences. So that just means that you actually cannot adjust the quality level when you're encoding the video. So if the display size is actually larger, the video size is going to be pretty massive and there's nothing you can do about it. It does technically support MJPEG as well in an AVI format container. However, you can't just do any normal AVI video. Like no converter that has been ever developed except for the one from this company can do that. I did, with the help of some AI, like reverse engineer how that one works, and it's essentially it's just like AMV, so there's not really any benefit to trying to get the MJPEG codec working on here. I would stick to the AVI the AMV. It's pretty much all you're gonna need. This one does not require any transposing, so it's just going to be, you can give it the video at the correct resolution. So even if this was a horizontal display, we'll get to some of those, you would just do 320 by 240. You don't have to rotate it ahead of time or anything to make it portrait. It's just going to play correctly. So that's kind of a nice thing of these players. But once you encode the video, it doesn't really matter. So you can use any encoder here. Like FFmpeg can do this without any like patches or anything. It would just get the video to play on here. Once again, you have J420p provides like a better quality image, but like you can't, with AMV you can't even choose any other like pixel format, so it's gonna force you to use that. The audio codec, this part is a little tricky. It uses something called ADPCM IMA AMV. That's the PCM uncompressed audio type for this container, or for this codec. Thankfully, FFmpeg will help you like figure out like what value to use for the block size. So you'll just like try to encode the video and it'll be like, oh, we can't do it because you need to set the block size to exactly this number. So you just set it to exactly that number and it works. So that's pretty easy. The audio rate is fixed with this codec at 22050 hertz or 22.05 kilohertz. This can also do JPEGs and BMPs, and the video playback lasts a very long time of 9 hours on this one. So I'll give you a quick demo of this player. Let's see. Yeah, you've got a lot of features here, including Bluetooth. I don't think on any of these Actions chips they can not do Bluetooth over video. There's only like one device that can do that, and it was actually this one. This one can do Bluetooth audio for video playback, although occasionally it will crash the entire player, so it's kind of unstable. I've contacted the company to ask if that's like normal. They said to update the firmware, but I was already updated, so I guess it's kind of just a bug that's not going to get fixed. But yeah, this can do exactly the same as some of the other players, just a different firmware, a different chipset. These chipsets with the Actions, they come with like built-in integrated storage, so you actually don't need an SD card if you don't want to put one in here. They come with some built-in flash storage. The Shenzhou or the SmartLink chips, they don't usually come with any flash storage built in, so good to know. Let's go to the next one. These are the next set of players. These ones also have like a generic unbranded like model number. If you go into the settings, called MP230, I think that kind of lines up with one of the other ones as well, but they're actually a little bit different in terms of like the firmware. But they actually have the same chipset of an SL6801, which means they're going to do the MJPEG codec, not the H.264. This one advertises a 200 milliamp battery. This one advertises a 150 milliamp battery, but I don't believe either one of them. They typically lie on the website of what the battery capacity actually is. So it's kind of just a best guess. Though I did benchmark these, I think, yeah, they get around 4 hours each. So that kind of lines up with that 200 milliamp number. These both have a 128 by 160 display, video size, and image size. They use the AVI format container with MJPEG codec. Once again, these ones, since they're Shenzhou, you need to like rotate the video ahead of time by transposing it. They also, they use the UV J420p, again, the full range, the uncompressed PCM S16LE audio, and just like the other SL6801, these ones only can do stereo, they can't do mono, and they can go from 8 kilohertz up to 48 kilohertz. I have not noticed any like video slowdowns with the 8 kilohertz setting like the other chip. These ones also do JPEG and bitmap images. And I'll just go ahead and give you a demo of these. The power button is at the top, right there. It's a slider. So is the SD card. You've got the micro USB on this one, and I guess this one is a USB-C. That's I guess a cool difference about them. I didn't know that. And we'll just power them on. You can see that they're literally identical. Yeah, sorry, this one too. Like they are exactly the same. There's no difference at all with these. And so yeah, you've got a different UI than we've seen so far, but they can do music, ebooks, a folder menu, a voice recorder, alarm, settings, Bluetooth, and some other stuff like pictures, video, and FM radio. All of these can do FM radio, but you need headphones to be plugged in to act as the antennas. So if I go into the settings, you've got that very typical Shenzhou interface for this SL6801, and you can see the model number is the MP230. So it's going to be, yeah. All right. I think that's all with these players. Let's do the next ones. So this one's not really an MP3 player, but it's, I guess, like a dedicated device that can be used for playing media. So I reverse engineered this one, or I guess documented it, I would say. The chipset in this one is an Allwinner H700. So it's kind of like a pretty powerful chip compared to the other ones. This runs like full Linux operating system. Which is probably not actually what you want for a video player. Massive battery of 3100 milliamp hours, so it's going to last forever. I think it lasted 10 hours playing video. Display size is 640 by 480. It's got an IPS screen, so it's actually really pretty to look at. Videos are going to look excellent. Image size and video size exactly the same, of 640 by 480. This can just do, I think it can do various video codecs, but the one that I knew would be supported the best is H.264. This one doesn't require any patching to work. It's going to take like regular standard H.264 video in an MP4 container. No need to transpose it at all, unless you want to do portrait video, in which you probably want to make the video rotated this way. The audio codec, thankfully, it's a compressed audio codec finally, so it's AAC you can use. Mono stereo, anywhere from 8 kilohertz to 48 kilohertz. And AAC is very space efficient, so your videos are going to be very compressed, but still high quality on this type of player. So that's a big benefit if you care about that. Once again, JPEG and bitmaps. I think I can probably do other image types as well. And we can just give it a quick look. The downside of this type of device is it takes quite a long time to power on. So while it's powering on, I'll show you there's the internal micro SD that has the operating system, and the external, which has the videos or other device or other files. Headphone jack, volume on the side, up down here. So it takes around like 30 seconds to boot up. This is the stock operating system, just so I could show you how to watch the videos. So you'd go into video here and go into external card, and here is a generic test video that's public and open source. So it's pretty good looking. Like the viewing angles are excellent. So there's some benefits. The video playing experience is not excellent on here. There's not very many controls, but similar to the other MP3 players, at least. You can definitely get a better operating system on here with some better tools to play videos, and you could get the video experience to be a lot better. This is one of the more high quality players with metal and glass. This one is from Ruizu as well, the company. This is the Ruizu D19. So I think on the bottom, I might have covered it up, but I think I might have covered it here. Yeah, I covered the model number, but that's all right. It's the D19. The chip in here is different, but similar to the other Ruizu, where This is a Action semiconductor chip. It's an ATJ 2157 instead of a 2127. Not sure what that gives you. I think it's just the higher performant model, maybe a slightly newer chip. The battery capacity is advertised as 560 milliamp hours. Display size is 240 by 320, as well as the video and image size. This one takes AMV videos, and if you really hacked it together, you can get an MJPEG as well, but just stick to AVI or AMVs. No need to rotate the video, so you can just feed this a 320 by 240 and it's going to play it perfectly. Same AMV parameters that you can't really change, so there's no need to go over those again. You can do JPEGs and bitmaps just like the other ones. So let's boot this up. Yeah, so you got the Ruizu. Whoops. You got, it's a capacitive buttons. I don't know really what to go over here. It's just a really generic player. If you ever see the menus that kind of look like this, that's a very indicative of Actions chip. So yeah, let's see if there's like a version number or something in here. Maybe that's useful for someone. I almost formatted the memory. Information, there we go. Information, okay, there you go. 2020, so it's quite old, but I mean, it does the job. Plays videos pretty well. It's a TN screen though, just like some of the cheaper ones. It's not going to be the best viewing angles, as you can see. If you tilt it this way, it gets all dark, bright, and tilt it this way, it gets all dark. So, yeah. This is the Ruizu X02. You can see X02. This is a very, very, very popular one. This one has actually been like hacked. Like you can, someone figured out how to like inject custom code onto this, so that's pretty interesting. It was like they did a full hacking project on it. It's an ATJ 2127, 460 milliamp hour battery, a 128 by 160 screen. Same for the image size. The video size is 160 by 128. You don't need to rotate it. It does AMV, JPEG, and bitmap. Let's power this on. Let's see. Might be dead. Oh, there we go. Oh, so I actually flashed different firmware onto this a long time ago from AGP Tech of like their A02. Just like pretty much the same thing, just the more American firmware. Same exact capabilities, I think. Yeah, let's see. See, it says an A02 from 2008. So this is a pretty old one, or I guess 2020. Sorry. But I mean, it works really well. This has been, a very popular MP3 player for a good reason. It's very thin. It's very light. They have a new one that has speaker if you want. Yes, it's a good little player. It's got a micro USB for charging though, and a headphone jack. So it's very simple. Nothing notable. This player is actually exactly the same as the one we just went over, the X02 or the A02. This one is unbranded. It's got the exact same chipset and hardware as the other one, with a slightly different firmware theme, which we've seen I think a little bit before. Yeah. So as you can see in the menus, whoops, like this is once again an Actions chip. It's very obvious by the way it looks in the font. So there you go. It says Actions Semiconductors right there. Same everything pretty much. It's just a little different firmware, and the hardware slightly different. It's a USB-C instead, and it's got speakers, but otherwise it's the same. So this player is quite cheap. Like, it's very, very cheap. Completely unbranded. USB-C, which is kind of impressive for this, hardware. Micro SD goes into this little like metal hole here. It's kind of weird. This has I guess the model name that they give in the firmware is CB2737_01. It's got an Actions semiconductors chip of ATJ 2127, 500 milliamp battery. I don't believe that though, given the size of this. 160 by 128 display size. So it's the first Actions chip that I've seen that has a horizontal laid screen. Video size is the same and image size is the same. 160 by 128. Plays AMV. No need to rotate anything. JPEG and bitmap support. So pretty standard. I'll just show you the firmware here. It came with I guess it came with some music built in. Oh my god, I can't. Yeah, I mean, oh, there we go. Okay, I don't want to get copyrighted. Yeah, man, I don't know how to get back to the menu. I'm not gonna lie. Like this. Oh no, nope. I think it's turning off. All right, let's try one more time. This one's a little tricky because there's just like 5 buttons, and it's not exactly intuitive of what everything does. So I guess that turns it on. It's gonna keep going back to playing music. Maybe if I click, that's the pause button. Circle goes back, I think. There we go. All right. So we've got the usuals. It can do video. It's kind of supposed to be like an iPod clone. Let's see. Go to information, play information. So there's that. You can see it's another Action Semiconductors chip right there. So yeah, pretty standard. Just a weird theme. Some of these like tell you the types of codecs supported. Like this one's pretty cool. It tells you exactly what to put on it. MJPEG is actually not MJPEG. It's going to be AVI. But I mean, it treats it the same. Yeah. And then you got. I guess they don't have anything for music. But yeah, pretty low end device. I probably would not get this one unless you like really want the aesthetic of this iPod kind of thing. But it's very cheap. It's not great. Another unbranded, unnamed one. Well, actually, this is not true. It is branded from a company called like H something. Let's see. HBNKH. They do like wholesale MP3 players and other devices. This model is the HR320, 500 milliamp. No, 240 milliamp hour battery. ATJ 2157, so it's the same one as the larger Ruizu D19 that we saw. 160 by 128 display, video size and image size, as AMV, JPEG and bitmap. So pretty standard here. Let's turn it on. Yeah, I think this is gonna go straight into a voice recording. No, okay, perfect. Some of the buttons are capacitive, and the main one is you just actually click it. So you've got all the usual stuff that we've seen on the other chips. Yeah, it's classic Actions font and interface. You go to play information. There it is. It even tells you the chip in there. That's pretty cool. And just like the other one, you can actually see the supported video codec. So it's pretty neat actually. This one's got some more like features that the other ones don't. I haven't really played around with it. I wasn't a big fan of this one. It's got like a password if you want. You can like turn on and off the speakers. I don't know. Does it have Bluetooth? I don't think so. I don't think it's got. Oh, it does have Bluetooth. All right. So just like it's the same thing as the other ones, just different style, different interface. So let's shut it down. I think yeah. There you go. Slightly interesting one, another generic. This is just called a YP3, but YP3 is just indicative that it's a Shenzhou or a SmartLink chip. It doesn't really mean anything else. It's pretty generic in terms of the name. It's got an SL6801, so it's one of the MJPEG kinds, not the H.264 kinds. 180 milliamp hour battery, so it's tiny. 160 by 128 display size, video size, and image size. Takes an AVI using MJPEG as the video codec. You need to, I guess you don't need to rotate this one because it's already a horizontal laid screen. Use the full range YUV J420p. This one, I believe you may need to like horizontal flip like mirror it horizontally, the video. You'll see whether or not you need to do that when you actually encode the video. It might take a little fiddling. I'll link my my repository that shows all of the like video and conversion like scripts, and it's gonna be like completely independent, so you don't really need the whole project. You could just grab the script you want and use it. The only exception is for the ones that need the patched X264. You just need to like point it to the binary for the FFmpeg there. because it needs the special one. But otherwise, they're pretty portable. This one can do 16 kilohertz up to 48 kilohertz audio, JPEG and bitmap, and it does only stereo again, just like all the other SL6801s. This is the interface for this one. Yeah, so you could, once again, like you can start to tell like which kind of chip the player is going to have based on what it looks like. YP3, and it's got some information there. So yeah, this one's not bad actually. It's just a low battery and kind of cheaply made, but it does the job. Micro USB there for charging. It has Bluetooth and video support and all that stuff. FM radio. Yeah, so another cheap one. Here's another generic from HBNKH. I don't remember what the model number on this one is. I don't think it has it actually on there. So maybe when we look at the firmware, it'll show it. This one's got an interesting chip of the SL6806, which is usually like the higher end chip, but they put it in this. Kind of interesting that they would do that. So this means that this would play H.264 videos actually. So it's kind of an upgrade. 250 milliamp hour battery, 128 by 160 display, video size and image size. You're gonna need to transpose it, rotate it, I guess, ahead of time. It uses an AVI format. The full range colors, you have J420p, signed PCM 16 little endian, PCM 16 LE, mono and stereo support from 8 kilohertz up to 48 kilohertz. Again, I would not go below 16 kilohertz there with JPEG and bitmap support. Let's power it on. So you need to hold, is it this one, or I think it might be this one. Yeah. All right. So this one kind of looks like this. And once I pop into the settings, you'll see classic SL6806 interface. Let's see. This one's got password protection. You can enable or disable the speakers. And there you go. So no model number or anything. Yeah. Not actually sure. Oh, the back button's right there. Kind of interesting. So yeah, same thing as the other ones, just different interface, different firmware. This one is, I don't know if it's got a model on it. Looks like it's another generic. This has an Actions 2127 chipset in it, 300 milliamp hour battery, 240 by 320 display size, but 320 by 240 video size, because remember, AMV videos don't require rotating them, and a 240 by 320 image size, so portrait. I think you could do landscape images as well, but since this is a portrait laid display, I typically just make them all portrait. It takes AMV, and it can do JPEG and bitmap images. So let's power this one on. It looks like it would be an Android device, but it's actually not. It's an Actions chipset MP3 player. Yep. It's an interesting one because it's got, it's got like this touchscreen interface. But once you actually pop into it, it starts to look familiar. Even though this kind of looks like a Shenzhou interface, the font kind of gives it away. This is not a Shenzhou device. This is an Actions device. That's the model number that they give. Yeah, nothing too special about this one. It's got a decent hardware to it. It's kind of thick. I think it's USB-C. Yeah. But once again, nothing special. It's a classic Actions chip. So does AMV video and the usuals. Now this one's actually very cool. This is from HBNKH again. So one of those like wholesale OEMs, I think. It's the HR320 Pro. So the Pro is important here. The non-Pro is a little different. That's the one we saw earlier. This one has a very interesting chip. It's the ATJ 229R2. And this one is much more capable for playing video than the other ones. I'll go over that in a minute. 320 by 240 display size, video size, and image size. And this one does MP4 formatted videos with the H.264 video codec. No patching needed, no rotating needed. This one just takes a video that you would have on your computer and you put it on here and it would work. So that's very special. They usually don't have this. It can do like AAC audio as well, which means it's going to be tiny, you know, tiny file sizes. And this one uses the not full range. It uses the regular YUV 420p video format. You can go 8 kilohertz up to 48 kilohertz and JPEG and bitmap images. And so I'll show you a little bit around here. I kind of covered this with this stand that I added. Yeah, USB-C. This one does not have Bluetooth. That is the one issue. They do make a model that does have Bluetooth, but they haven't sent me the sample yet. So hopefully they'll give me a sample so you can try that. This one's, you know, fully touchscreen, a little different than usual. You can do information. So 320 Pro from 2023. It has some internal storage as well. And if I show you the file, let me see if I can pull up a video here. This is a YouTube video I put on there. Unfortunately, the screen is actually not good on this one. It's a TN screen, so the viewing angles, thankfully it's a horizontally laid screen, so the horizontal viewing angles are fine, but vertically they're still pretty bad. And there's like pretty low pixel density, so you could see like all of those pixels on the screen. Kind of zoom it out, it doesn't look so bad. But yeah, so this one's very capable. You can just like scrub the video wherever you want and leave it. It's gonna get there. You can pause it. Well, yeah, you should be able to pause it. Come on. All right, pause. You can go in here and actually change stuff, like play it once, repeat it. You could say, make this like full screen, make this original scale. You could actually change the like video track and the subtitles. So this one's very capable, and it shows you like all this information. So this one is so impressive to me. I really wish they made this one with Bluetooth and like an IPS screen. That would be so killer. But yeah, that's this one. It's a good one. And now we enter to the weird device, or the weird set of devices I found that can kind of do what I wanted. Just very like unique use case for them. This is a feature phone from a company called MKTEL, MKTEL. Very budget devices. Like these are in the range of like $6 to like maybe $18 at the highest. Like these are cheap, and they are pretty good actually. This is the MKTEL 106, or also known as the Doro Primo Force 13. I think it's just the MKTEL 106 though. And these type of phones, they use a spread ROM like modem or something, like a chip, as well as a MediaTek chip. So this one's got an SC6531E for the spread ROM stuff, and a MediaTek 6261D. So these are like kind of common for these cheap phones. It's got a, I think it's like 800 milliamp hour battery. The cool thing is these you can open up, like you can actually pop the battery out, and there's a micro SD card slot as well. So let's just dump it. It's I think this is actually wrong. I think this is a scam. This is like not the original battery. This one is the one I bought online. I don't really think it's 1500 milliamp hours. I think it's more like 800. But on the inside, you've got the 2 SIM card slots, which are kind of useless now. In America, this is a 2G phone only, so you're not going to get any service at all. But for offline use, it might be useful. This is a micro SD card slot, so you can pop it down and open it, put this SD card in there, and put this back and close it. That is pretty cool. So you put the battery in, and you put the back on. So there you go. You turn it on by holding the end call key, the hang up. So yes, this is a 128 by 160 display size with a video size of 160 by 128, horizontal laid. Image size of 128 by 160, so portrait. It can do an MP4 or a 3GP video container, depending on what codec you're going to use. The better codec is MPEG-4 Part 2, or just MPEG-4/XVID. XVID might give you slightly higher quality. and that goes into MP4 containers. And then the 3GP is for H.263 video, so it's a little bit of an older one. And 3GP cannot do the native display sizes of some devices. You might have to like crop it to be to make it fit. So that's a little bit of a downside with that format. So I would definitely recommend going with the MP4 format video. No need for any like special patches to convert the video. The pixel format is the limited range YUV 420p. The audio is AAC low complexity or whatever, like LC. Mono or stereo from 8 kilohertz up to 48 kilohertz. It can do JPEGs or bitmap images as well. So this one, let's see here. It's got a camera on it. Settings, you got phone settings maybe, MISC settings. So you can change some. There's a lot of stuff to configure here. You can kind of actually. I think you can go into the phone settings and go to dedicated keys. Yeah, so I can like kind of make shortcuts. So instead of write being alarm, I'll say write can be video. Where is that? Maybe file manager would be what I want. So now if I go back here and I go to click the write button. Oh, I guess I need a memory card, but if I had a memory card, I click this button, it would go to that page. So let's go through the other devices. This one broke from the factory. The battery exploded, so I think I wired up like a, I wired up like a lithium battery just to get it to work a little bit. Unfortunately, the battery it's expanding like broke the screen as well. So this one's kind of a test dummy phone that I'm just gonna throw away. If I, there's no use for it, but same chipset as the other one. This one supposedly has, let's see, the battery size used to be this used to be about 1800 milliamp hours. It's a bigger battery than the other one. Unfortunately, it exploded, so this new battery is smaller. Again, 128 by 160 display size. This is the model is MKTEL Boom 2, so the Boom 2. See, 160 by 128 video size, 128 by 160 image size. It can do MP4 and 3GP formatted videos just like the other one. There's no differences other than that. And here's what the firmware looks like on the when you boot it up. You can see that the display is broken because of the battery expanding, but that's all right for now. And this one, it might have a slightly different, different interface, but same functionality overall. Something important to note is I have about 6 of these phones I'm going to show you. This one and the previous one and the one after this, they can support micro SD cards greater than 128 gigabyte, or at least 128 gigabyte, I should say. Whereas the last 3 phones I'm going to show you actually cannot do that. They can only go up to 16 gigabytes, and I've tried everything to figure out how to get that to work, and it's not feasible because it's something that's a bug in their firmware. This is another one. Not from MKTEL, but it's basically the same company. It's a 3310-1 from Sonoro or from MKTEL. I think it's the same. Same chipset, 800 milliamp hour battery, same display size, same video types. Everything's the same. This one is the last device out of the 3. So the first 3 I showed you, this one being the last of them, supports 128 gigabyte micro SD card at least. So that does make them useful if you're going to put up large files on here. Same interface as the other one, so yeah, nothing really special to show here. I'll go to the next one. This is the MKTEL B310, same chipset, same battery size. Well, battery size 800 milliamp hours, same display size, same video type, same everything. Except this one cannot do anything larger than 16 gigabytes for the micro SD card due to a firmware limitation. Likely how they are doing the calculations, they might assume that there would never be something greater than 16 gigabytes, so the math doesn't work out internally. But that's all right. It could still do 16 gigabytes, and due to this display size being so small and the video being so efficient, you can probably store a lot of videos on here. So this one, you can actually go to a second page to get to Bluetooth. The Bluetooth doesn't work for video, I don't think, but it does work for audio. And I think you can actually give this internet as well, but I don't know why you would do that. you can give it internet over Bluetooth, I think. So yeah, same thing, same thing. And this is the MKTEL M2023. You can see right there. Same exact everything as the one we just saw, the B310. Again, 16 gigabyte micro SD card maximum for this. But overall, pretty much the same kind of phone here. Nothing to note. I will say, like, if you're comparing the previous one to this one's a little thinner. Same battery size, same everything. I think it's slightly less tall as well, but not a big deal. I think this would be my favorite device to use if it could do larger than 16 gigabytes of SD card. And then we'll just jump right to the MKTEL XO. This one is the same as the other ones, the only difference being that the battery size is pretty big. It's 1800 milliamp hours. Again, it's one of the bigger batteries. I'll show you what the bigger battery type looks like. I've shown you the smaller ones so far, and the bigger ones are hard to find online, but you can find them. You can see 1800 milliamp hours, 25 Bi is the battery type. I like this style of micro SD card better, where you can just slide it in as opposed to like locking it with this like very delicate mechanism. So probably more future-proof. Boot it up. This is a 128 by 160 display. You can do videos of 160 by 128 for horizontal. It's the same video codec, same audio codec, same bitmaps and JPEGs. The firmware is similar to the other one we saw earlier. All of these phones, they come with like this, like a torch on them, and you can usually activate them by just holding down the middle button. Here, this one. Just wanted to point it out. Let's go to the next one. Now this one is my favorite. This is the MKTEL M82, same chipset. The battery is one of the bigger ones, the 1800 milliamp hour batteries, and this one's interesting because it's got an IPS display, but for some reason the viewing angles still do this thing, so it might not actually be IPS. They advertised it to be. It's a 240 by 320 screen with a 320 by 240 video and a 240 by 320 image size, and again MP4s and 3GP videos, mono or stereo. You can do yeah, I'll explain that in a second. Let me show you the phone. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the outside. The battery is one of the bigger ones, and it uses that like delicate locking mechanism for the micro SD card. Only accepts up to 16 gigabyte micro SD card. That is the big flaw here. But if I go, I already have videos on here, so I can show you. So we just go to like this one with Reckless Ben, and pressing 0 is going to actually pressing this will lower the volume. This will raise the volume. This will like flop it to a full screen, and so it's very, very nice. Actually, I really like this one. I've been using this to like just put my daily YouTube downloads on this to watch, because I've been trying to watch stuff offline, just to have a little bit more control and less like advertising and I don't agree with how the services are being run. So I want to see if I can have like my own. I could eat my cake and have it too, or whatever. So yeah, I've been enjoying watching the videos on this. It's pretty good. There's an issue where audio can kind of desync from the video. I don't know what causes that. Like the videos themselves don't have that issue, but when I put them on this, they do. So I'm assuming it's something in the player here, but it doesn't bother me. It hasn't really it's only gotten in the way of like one video. It doesn't happen to all videos. It's like very specific ones, so it might be something that I can actually fix if I can diagnose it properly, but that'll be something for later. And this is actually the very last device I'm going to show. This is the what is their company name? Hold on. HBNKH HR320S. So there's like, we've seen the R320, the R320S, this one, and the R320 Pro. The Pro being the best, obviously. We don't know the battery size. It's somewhere in between 500 to 1,000 milliamp hours. I'm going to assume 500 is probably more reasonable. 320 by 240 display size, so that's good. It's got an Actions ATJ 2157, so that's good. You can do AMV videos. Image sizes are also 320 by 420 or 240. The video type is AMV. You don't need to rotate it or anything like that. It does JPEGs and bitmaps, and I'll show you this one. I think this is the power on here. Yeah. So, yeah, classic actions menus here. It's all right. I mean, there you go. There's, you know, you got to choose the player that you would like the most, or like that would satisfy what you're looking for the most. But yes, not all of these are that. Some of these are just kind of interesting that I found. But that is all of the devices that I've gone over. I'm going to put a lot of links in the description to like the work I've done to get all this kind of working and standardized, as well as like the spreadsheet link so that you can access it. It's a big spreadsheet that kind of goes over everything. Yeah, I think that's it. And then if there's any questions or anything, or you have like another device that seems interesting that maybe is worth reviewing, I can go over it. There's one more that I have coming that supposedly it's like it's kind of like one of these, except instead of it playing like really basic video, it says it can support like MP4 videos, which is unique for these. And that tells me, and based on the interface, it kind of looks like the phone interface. So I think it's going to be using a similar chipset as like the feature phones, but in the MP3 player, which will allow it to play like really decently done video, I think. So I'm excited for that. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, that's it. All right.